Hi and welcome everyone. This is Varleigh at Lavender Sky Panther. Excuse me. I see it's working. Hi, Illuminated Perfume in the chat. Hi, everybody. I'm going to start off with a disclaimer. Something crashed in hard with me an hour ago and just forced me to sleep, close the eyelids. And I came out of that, but I'm still a little rough around the edges. So bear with me like a minute or two for me to kind of wake up here. Also, as it is when I go live, my eyes, for whatever reason, automatically go fuzzy. It's nothing to do with eyesight or vision. Like I normally don't need glasses, but it's just something about it's like a phenomenon in and of itself. When I come on, just something else takes over. So bear with me on that too, because there's a few things I'm going to read tonight. But I do want to say, yeah, welcome everybody, especially if you want to hop in the chat and share anything, whether it's related to this show or not. I am going to let you know what this is all about. It is time sensitive. And I just want to say, yeah, welcome also Lake Superior Skywatcher and Nature Lover and Heidi Patch Notes, Heidi over there. And hi and big hugs and love all around. So whether you're new to this channel or returning, heartfelt thanks for being here. We're gonna have a little fun tonight. This is an unexpected show. I said in the little description, like surprise, it's going to be a live on Tuesday because I usually like to keep them on the weekends. But this one was just a show waiting to happen, kind of begging to happen. And I want to give a special thank you and shout out to Roxana at Illuminated Perfume. I put her YouTube channel link in the description box below because we can all point and blame at her. No, just kidding. She is the reason why this even kind of popped up on my mind to make sure I did this show today. So she was kind enough to send an image, and it was like a friendly reminder to jar my memory. I've been wanting to do this show for a very long time. Even if this is short and sweet, I say it might be short and sweet. We'll see how long it goes. What I want to do is set up this show as a part 1 to a part 2 that will probably be a more extensive follow-up on the weekend. But I know I keep kind of dancing around it. But in the shout out also, I'm going to jump around. That's what I do. There's like a million thoughts moving around, and I do my best to make it cohesive and then re-deliver it. So just bear with me. But on that shout out to Roxana also, if you do go check out her YouTube, and she also has a website. She writes beautifully, exquisitely, really fascinating things, and also works with botanicals and plants and perfumes, creating beautiful essences. And so check it out. Also, so the image that was sent over, I'll get to, but let me just get into the show because you're probably like, what are we talking about? Well, today, April 14th, is a very special day in the sense that back in, we could say in a long time ago, in a place not so far away in Germany, there was a happening, an event, a celestial event, reportedly. I believe it happened. I was doing my best to look around and see how credible this is. But in 1561, some of you may know it, and you maybe saw the hint in my thumbnail, and I'm going to hold it up in a second. There was a celestial happening over the skies of Nuremberg, Germany, in 1561, allegedly. So what was happening and why people are saying that is in a museum or a library. I think I'll get to it because I'm going to read about it. In Switzerland, are housed what's called broadsheets. And they were large sheets, kind of like a newspaper, but engravings that depicted what was going on in those times back in the 1500s. So namely the 1560s, we're going to be looking at a time period spanning, well, pretty much from 1560s even to the 70s, that there was a bunch of phenomenon going on. So the key one, I'll put up the little sheet to mark the show, is this is what it's called. We're talking about 460 years later. We're going to be looking at, I'll show you the full image of this. So this image is coming from a woodcut engraving from 1561 attributed to Hans Glaser, supposedly a printer at that time. This is depicting Nuremberg, and there's a whole sky battle scene happening over the skies of Nuremberg in Germany. Now, alongside it, and actually I've mirrored this. So if you know the original and familiar with it, this object is facing the other way. The spear is going the other way. But I lined it with one of my cover sheets. This is an image, a photographic image that I took on June 22nd, 2021, of this dark, triangular shaped craft in the night sky. And this was backlit by a lightning flash. And I go into detail and depth on how I captured this image. It's in show number 92. I just put that in the post section, a link to it. Do go watch that show if you're interested in this topic at all, because there I was just in the moment of excitement of capturing it. And I was in my stride as far as all of my sky observations. I have over 200 shows of sky observations that I was divinely prompted to look up and start documenting stuff in the sky intensively from really kind of like 2019 on through now. But I tapered off a little bit in the last couple of years because I've had a lot of life stuff going on. But there were 6 core years where day and night I was, monitoring and taking photographs and videos of the skies. So anyway, I think, I hope you can see the correlation of this is a real life photo of a craft in the sky. And then this is the engraving. So as I get into it, I'm going to read some little excerpts of what's written about this engraving, and I'm going to show you the full part of it. But to me, some will say in this engraving, oh, Hans, if it was this guy, Hans Glaser, who did do the engraving, oh, he just embellished it and, et cetera, et cetera. But I think there's, a lot of legitimacy here. So something like this is not a far cry from this. And, hopefully you see that and agree. If not, it's okay too. As you know, with this channel, I love open minds, beautiful open minds. And it's great to not agree at times and really get a good discussion going. And other times, if we agree, great. We have the same vision. And I just happened to see sisterhood when I said have the same vision. Okay, so here, I'm going to show you the actual 1561 image. Now, this is just part of it. And on the original, there's a bunch of text. And like I said, this is just kind of setting up for a more extensive show that'll come on the weekend. But here we have the image. So I'm going to read something about this image. And I'm going to try to hold this straight, so bear with me. Okay, this is just straight up from internet. So it's just saying, this image is a historic engraving created by Hans Glaser in 1561, often referred to as the Nuremberg celestial phenomenon or the Nuremberg UFO engraving. It depicts a strange celestial event that was allegedly witnessed over the city of Nuremberg, Germany on April 14, 1561. The image was created to accompany a report of the event and has become famous due to its depiction of unusual and unexplained aerial phenomenon. The upper part of this engraving shows a scene in the sky where a sun with a human face sits in the center, surrounded by strange objects. These objects include cylindrical shapes. Oops, hang on. I lost my space. Cylindrical shapes resembling modern-day flying saucers or rockets, which seem to be flying in different directions. That's important, okay? Flying in different directions, because I've documented that in my sky in show number 92. Objects kind of going at different angles, different directions. Let's see. Also crosses and circles scattered, in the sky, which may represent other celestial or unnatural objects. Explosions or light trails in the sky with smoke rising from the horizon, suggesting some form of conflict or destruction. The bottom part of the engraving, which I don't show here, but I'll, bring that up for the next show. It shows the city of Nuremberg with the people gathered on the streets, looking up at the strange event. Some people appear to be fleeing the scene, while others are observing in awe or fear. This emphasizes the widespread panic or fascination caused by the strange skyward occurrences. The text beneath the illustration is written in Old German and describes the event in detail, claiming the celestial phenomenon was witnessed by many people. And this goes on and on. So supposedly, the event was witnessed at dawn. And actually, I do want to dig into the Old German that is below. So I don't know if I can make that happen on my phone. Can't see it, it's washed out. But below here is all the Old German text. I do actually want to get into that too, because I can read and understand German. I don't know about Old German, but I just kind of want to get a feel for what was going on at the time. Okay, so that was witnessed supposedly close to dawn, and it is in the Zentralbibliothek Zurich, which is the Zurich Central Library in Switzerland. And there's a website. I'm going to put links to all of this in the description area below also. And it's called Public Domain Review. And the reason why I want to bring that up is not only is, this kind of well-known and circulating on the internet, And actually, I first saw this image back in 2018 or 2019 on a YouTuber's channel called Naughty Beaver and the Nostradamus Prophecies. Now, in the heat of everything over the last few years, unfortunately, his channel was taken down. He had some brilliant work there, and it was through that channel that I even saw this. So when it came time for me to realize that I captured this as I went through my footage, and I'll just hold that up again. This is, what I caught with a back flashing of lightning backlighting it. The moment I went through my footage and saw this, I did immediately, this came to mind, my vision, this came to mind. And so that's why I'm so extra grateful that Roxana jarred my memory to look at this. And then I put down there in the description area as a thank you shout out that her timing was impeccable with that, because as I was looking, it's like, no way. I just got the image the other day, and that, it happened on April 14th. So that's why I'm doing the show today, April 14th. So technically we're at 465 years later from this event, right? And I put 460 years later in the title because to this time frame, for between this and this was 460 years later. Now, what's fascinating is that as I was looking into this engraving, I found this other link and site. This was just one of many, many, many weird stuff that was going on for a span of over, I think, almost 10 years in Europe. And so it got to the point where they even called them Wunderzeichen, or wonder signs, because they were seeing weird things with rainbows, weird things with northern lights that they never saw usually. There were things like a halo with two moons, okay? And it's all things that we're experiencing now, if you think about it. I don't know if some of you remember last January, not this past one, but the one before, there was a second moon that was even on mainstream news that showed up, near the moon. And they're like, oh, that's just a second moon. It's just going to be here for a few months. And then it left. Like, what the heck, right? So that happened back then too on some of these reports. So what's going to be coming up in the weekend, I'll get more into this and do a more proper show. This is just like, I got to come on and commemorate the 465th anniversary of this phenomenon, this sky battle over Nuremberg, right? But anyway, other events were happening. So one happened in 1566 over Basel, Switzerland. 1571 in Marburg, that's when they saw two moons and a halo. Something else happened in 1554 over Nuremberg. Other sky wonders happened 1561 over Strasbourg, 1557 over Vienna, 1560 over Bamberg, again, strange northern lights, or at least what they're calling northern lights on some of the woodcut depictions. Now, I really want to dive into that and see, is it, was it northern lights, or maybe some other phenomenon was going on there? Also, 1561 over Rothenburg, 1564 over Leipzig, and 1564 over Brussels, and on and on and on. So there were a ton of these quote-unquote wonder signs happening. And they were saying to the extent that there were more than 400 broadsheets of depicting all these wild things going on between 1550 and 1559. So I was blown away by that, because here I thought we're just going to look at one woodcut. Even if we just found this, that'd be pretty darn exciting. Now, I have to say, taking a good look at this, I have seen other people on YouTube back in, again, the heyday of all of this, before a lot of YouTube channels were taken down because they were showing the truth and showing too much. And YouTube, especially back in 2018 to 2020, took down a lot of truthers' sites and a lot of people's videos that were showing the honest to goodness truth, because it was a little, hit too close to home. It was really revealing a lot of truth. So I was watching all of those things, though, back in the day. Well, there was a hotbed of activity of stuff going on in the sky, and watching everything real time. So I saw somebody had real footage of something that looked a lot like this, and it was mostly red lights, but it was vertical in the sky over Florida. And I'm thinking that some of these things, and see what you think about all this, some of these things, with the cluster of four things around, I'm wondering if they're trying to depict some of those Merkabahs that people are seeing. They're seeing them all over if you look on YouTube, especially over the coast of North Carolina, really everywhere. They're they look like, it's not a star, but it's something that's changing color. It's very, I'm sure you've seen them. And again, I'll try to put it in for the next show. But I'm wondering if they're trying to depict that, or they are just seeing something like that. So let me read a little bit more. There are a couple other things that people talk about this stuff. Let me just see. I already read that. Oh, okay. I thought there was one other aspect I want to talk about. Give me 1 second. Oh, yeah, there is. Hang on 1 second. Oh, okay. I want to read one more thing, one more little excerpt, and I'm going to put this article that I'm reading the excerpt from. I'll put a link in the description area below. It's really well written. When it was talking about, here, hang on. Let's see. Okay, it's kind of an excerpt. So it was talking about the Bavarian horizon was blotted out by an extraterrestrial skirmish between unidentified orbs. And there's a quote, "The globes flew back and forth amongst themselves and fought vehemently with each other for over an hour," wrote the broadsheets author. Again, the broadsheets were these things. Some of these vehicles crashed down beyond the city limits, while a terrifying arrow-shaped like object appeared in the air. I'm assuming it's like this. Whatever such signs mean, God alone knows. That's the end of the quote. So they were saying that these were not isolated incidents. German broadsheets in the Holy Roman Empire conveyed all kinds of wondrous phenomena through woodcuts, anomalies in the sun, moon, stars, stones and fire falling from the sky, rainbows, miraculous births, rains of blood, in quotes, tracks. Oh, it cites this author, Daniela Wagner. So they were saying unexplainable events happen so frequently that they were christened the Wunderzeichen, or wonder signs. Okay, so I'm going to just stop right there. But okay, what's interesting in this quote I wanted to point out is they talk about the Holy Roman Empire, and I happen to have an atlas, and I'll bring this up in the next show on the weekend. I have an atlas that shows a map, a world atlas. And I was looking and I'm like, oh, how great is this? It's like from 1960s, but it shows Europe at the time of the Holy Roman Empire. So I have a snapshot of Europe from 1560. So that's right in this window of time. And it has like a little boundary line of where the Holy Roman Empire was considered, where it was. So what I'm going to do for the next show is just highlight, equivalent of highlighting, putting a pin on all of the locations of these Wunderzeichen, or these wonder signs, so that by the next show, it'll be a little more organized and cohesive of where all this activity happened. Now, getting back to present day, I just want to say again, no fear with any of this. Like when I saw this pop up in my video, again, backlit with lightning flashes, I was just like, oh my God, this is like so cool. I wasn't like, oh, holy crap, everybody run for the hills and like duck and cover and kiss your ass goodbye. This was just, oh, wow, we get to see this stuff. Are you kidding me? This is fantastic, right? Now, of course, if you've followed my channel at all, you know I like Star Wars. Those are a lot of my go-to references. I even threw on a little Star Wars shirt for fun today. But, these are exciting times. I'm like, are you kidding me, to see stuff in the sky? And it's not frightening. I mean, we would have been toast a long time ago if we were to fear any of this stuff. If anything, we're watching skirmishes. If you catch stuff like I have, it's just watching some skirmishes playing out. But like, it's like you already know the end of the movie. And what do even all of these movies tell us? Okay, it's a conflict of good and evil. It's the rebels and the oppressors. And who always wins in the end? The good guys, And so it's like, even looking at this, it's like, well, okay, I can relax. We win the day. And now let's just have fun watching some of these things in the sky, except on TV or in a movie. Heck, this is right above in our skies. So as I was looking at some of these things, it seemed to be the hotbed of activity kind of really crescendoed. And I would say ended, I think, on the date that I captured this, on June 22nd, 2021. This, in my show, it's called like Epic, I always forget the name, Epic Backyard Nighttime, Craft Sky Battle, something like that. This really felt also like a concluding battle, at least for over my area. And at the time, I was really scanning YouTube, looking at all other channels, seeing if anybody else is seeing this, what I'm seeing in the sky. And I did see a man in Germany, and he was like a professor. I forget what he did, but he was talking about very close to the same date over the skies of Germany. He noticed a battle as well. and similar. And his feeling was that that was kind of like it. Like, we were crescendoing, and in this date in 2021, that was like the end of whatever's going on. And I'm not presuming to know exactly what's going on, but I'm telling you, I have a concrete photo of this, so I can't deny this. This is I don't think you can, anyone can say that's not a very sharp triangular shape up in the sky on a tuft of like cloud. It just isn't a normal cloud, right? So I have a feeling too that whatever has been going on with skirmishes in the sky, that was like wrapped up, the bulk of it in 2021. Now, since then, I watch night skies all the time. I did see something similar happen up into 2024 here and there, but very sparse, very sporadic, hardly at all. And so my gut level feeling is still telling me the big action, as far as any kind of night battle or even day battle with cloaking craft that we can't see so well, happened at that time. I think anything, if anyone's trying to ramp up and say, oh no, there's like a lot going on in space and Space Force and fighting, I think if anything, that's like residual skirmishes. There's also a possibility that we're seeing in different timelines, we're in different dimensions. There's a possibility back then that this all opened up. I don't know, like the veil thinned, is what they say, the veil is thinning. Maybe, that 9-year period, everyone just happened to, the veil was thinning, or they had the eyes to see it. They weren't brainwashed in MK Ultra and 3-letter agencies told you crazy if you see UFOs. Maybe that wasn't happening back then. So they were more open to seeing stuff and talking about it, opposed to now, where up until recently, looked at as totally crazy if you talked about UFOs. Still, people might look at this now and say, oh yeah, that's totally nuts. And my response is, yeah, I thought so too, until you see your first one, or, and then you just know it beyond deniability that it's possible, then it's not so crazy anymore. But again, each of us have our own opinion and our own, lens and way of seeing. And that's going to change too. So as we ascend, or we go through ascension, like our collective consciousness is going from a 3D, busting out of 3D matrix and moving on up toward 5D and heavenly realms, we start getting activated. We all have that dormant DNA within us with all of our spiritual superpowers. So who knows, from one night to the next, you might wake up and go, oh my gosh, I didn't see that there before. I was awakened like that in 2018 from one night to the next, told to look up. I'm like, what does that mean? I started seeing cloaking craft. I didn't have that ability before. So when I look at this image, it's reminding me, the word is coming in my mind, rods and cones, like in our vision. So even this is kind of a depiction of rods and cones of sorts, right? So it's a little tongue-in-cheek joke of what might start happen as we start to see deeper, or the veil is thinning and we start to see stuff. But again, zero fear with any of this. For me, it's just like wonder and fascination and like, wow, this is amazing, right? So I know I talked quite a bit. I didn't really look in the chat, but I think everyone's just like saying, hey, and again, welcome and thanks for being here. And let's see, what is word? Okay. Oh, okay. I think this was an ongoing conversation, so I didn't know if I should chime in and read that. But anyway, okay. Well, I don't know if any of you have any opinions on any of this. I do invite you after the show to go look at the link that I put in the posts section, show number 92. It's about a 25-minute show that I did. Again, capturing the moment. I do a detailed narration and walk through of the analysis of this scene. So if you want to see like the bigger picture, this is just blown up and zoomed in on this object. That's where you go for that. And I'm also going to put in the post later a couple of links to all of those other wonder signs and that I found that were just truly amazing. So I think that's really kind of all I wanted to drop for today. And actually, there's probably a little bit more. Let me just look at my little notes here. I think that, well, there's just one other thing I'll say, and then I'll kind of finish off with that. And again, feel free to add anything in the chat if you like. And then if for those of you that like a little extra message oracle card wise, I did connect in and pull a few cards. So at the very end, whoever's still interested in that, hang around. But I did want to say also in the time of the hot bit of activity when, I captured this around this time, I want to say within 6 months here or there of when I captured this, there was a weird phenomenon that happened over the house where I was living, where I saw that. It's a suburban neighborhood in Miami, Florida. There was one night, and it was all of this too, I want to say, there was something with this appearing that happened around storm activity. So the lightning felt artificial, that backlit this, and I go into detail that on the show number 92 that I did. The lightning felt artificial. The whole sky lit up weird, like a movie screen. It didn't even look like normal, real lightning or storm activity. And that was happening a lot around the time, that I have that capture of that image. And one night on a weekend, I remember it was so strange. It was a Saturday, close to midnight, and I was just like picking up stuff. I was wide awake. I'm a night owl, putting things, cleaning things up, tidying things up. And then all of a sudden, the entire house shook and rumbled. And I swear it felt like some kind of craft came really low, and it was like kind of in a stormy, situation. It wasn't lightning, but because I'm also very intuitive, I just had an image immediately of like, a huge, triangular, shaped craft came very low over the house and just shook it. And then, and then it went away, but it was a very different kind of rumble than lightning. And so just all these weird kind of phenomenon were really literally flying around, back at that time. And like I said, now it's really tapered off. I haven't really seen any of these. Again, just like one-offs here or there, very few and far between. So I want to give a message of encouragement for anybody that's like, oh no, if people are having an uptick of seeing UFOs and this and that, does that mean it's real trouble? No, I'd say like the bigger conflicts have passed. Anything else is just residual. And any craft that would be seen in the sky that are legitimate, because, that aren't drones, that aren't, other, black ops or military tech trying to look like some kind of UFO. And you can tell the difference, because the ones that are legitimate inspire wonder, and you're like, wow, I just want to look at this thing. Whereas anything of a negative slant or bent to it, you're like, oh, I don't like that. I want to go inside. So again, trust your intuition. If you start to see stuff in the sky, just know that you have that, internal detector and barometer to know instantly, is that a good thing? And I can just stand and wonder at it, or, maybe just go inside and kind of tune out. As I've said before, in over 6 years of intently looking at the skies, there's only maybe 2 or 3 times, and I'm talking, I looked at all times of day and night, especially with the quote unquote shutdowns. I had a lot of time and opportunity to be able to go out at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, all hours, 6, 7 in the morning, and then be out till dusk and all of that, and really observe what was going on. And out of all those times, there's only like 2 or 3 times where it's like, ooh, that cloud's a little low and it doesn't feel so good. And I just went inside. So no fear, no worries there. Oh, hey, welcome Sarah to the chat. Hey, she says, hey, everyone in the chat. Hey there. And Illuminated Perfume, and I invite everybody to read the chat if you haven't already, is talking about word, WYRD, and a whole, it says representing fate, destiny, or what becomes in Anglo-Saxon and Norse culture implies a dynamic, inescapable personal destiny, often linked to the Norns, I think it says. Sorry, I'm trying to read it. Anyway, some good stuff going on there. So anyway, I don't know if this, just showing you these images, explaining my personal stories as a sky watcher, intently sky watching at that time, inspires anything in you. But as I say, when you look at anything that I'm presenting, or you look in your skies, it's always a very personal relationship of what you are seeing, and you're seeing it through the lens of your eyes, which are different from my eyes, different from your neighbor's eyes, different from whoever. And you could have 5 people looking up the sky, and 1 or 2 see something, the others don't. If that ever happens, it's nothing wrong with you. It's just we're just calibrated slightly differently to what we're seeing at the time. And some things are shut off for us if we're not ready to see it. And then, and sometimes you think you're not ready, but you might see something. And then, so apparently you're ready, because you're not going to see anything unless you're kind of ready to see it. And you might even, it's not a matter of like willingness per se. Some of it has to do with that, but also your soul knows like what you can handle. Your soul knows like, yeah, you know what? She says she wants to see it, but deep down, I think she's not ready. And your soul will say, okay, not yet. And then when we're ready, we get activated. It's kind of as simple as that. But again, no fear associated with any of it. So, okay. So unless anybody has anything else to add, I think I will sign off on the sky, UFO phenomenon part for now. And I'll just hold these up one more time. I just love the heck out of this, that these so match, that these so correlate. And as not, I don't like the word promised, but as I mentioned, coming up in this weekend, I think I'll return back to Saturday, unless I'm told differently over the week. Saturday at 8, probably. I'll come back with a more extensive show, a little more visuals to better describe what's going on with the other phenomenon documented in the 1500s. Just fascinating. Again, I only thought there was just that one engraving. And I think there's like at least 20 more images that are recorded in this one library, online to check it out. So that ought to be fun anyway, I think. And yeah, if any of you have a special, one of those broadsheets jumps out at you when I post the link and you're like, oh, I really want to know more about that, feel free to email me and I can give that a little more attention. Otherwise, I'll just kind of look through and whatever pops up to my attention is probably what I'm going to cover. Okay, well, I love all of you. I will just say big hugs and love all around. And I'm going to just then close on a few cards. So if that's not your jam, feel free to hop off. And otherwise, let's just see. Okay. Oh, thank you, Varleigh. See you again soon. Thanks, Illuminated Perfume. Okay, so I did draw 4 cards with the hop out method. They just hopped out. So I'm going to read them in front of me first, and I'll hold them up so you can see the images. So we have number 33 or number 6, see the light. Then we have step away from the crowd. That's an 18 or 9. We have number 8, be courageous. And then we have number 3, drop it. So this is actually very apropos. Okay. So we have see the light, which, we're talking about the heavens and celestial phenomenon, right? And then we have, step away from the crowd. And that's kind of what you need to do if you're going to do sky watching, right? That's just not still kind of considered the norm. So as you're standing there looking up, people might say, oh, like, what are you doing? Don't worry about it. It's a sky is free for everybody. Thank God, So look up, be that one that dares to look up. Like, why not, And then we have be courageous. Oh, sorry, I've got this reversed. So yeah, part of that, it's actually be courageous is one thing, like I just mentioned, but it's just be you, you feel like looking up, just freaking look up. And then this card keeps coming up like every time lately, drop it. So drop the inhibitions. This card meant something different last time. This time I'm getting just drop your inhibitions so that we can see, there's a much bigger sky out there. If we're just looking down at our devices and like, oh, I don't want to be seeming strange if I'm the only one looking up, just look up. That's where the real magic is happening right now. That's where it's at. And then there were like 2 bonus cards that popped out, which were don't sweat the small stuff. That's number 54, 9. And then 44 or an 8 is stick with it. So yeah, don't sweat the small stuff. Don't let any speed bumps deter you if you're, doing what you want to do. Sorry, I keep switching it the wrong way. There we go. Okay. Here, let me go like this. Sorry, guys. Haven't quite figured this out yet. So don't sweat the small stuff and stick with it. So again, I think it's similar to this. Just, drop it. Drop anything that might be holding you back. Now is the time more than ever to be your authentic self. And if you want to go up and hug a tree, go hug that tree. Like, who cares if somebody looks at you weird? Connect with it. Do it. Like I say, it's kind of like I'm not saying this in any kind of like gloom and doom way, but just imagine we only had like let's do like a school setting. Let's say we were going on a field trip and we're on the bus and the bus is driving us and dropping us off at a place to do a field trip. Now it could be, an outdoor field trip. It could be in a museum. It could be wherever. Okay. But a field trip is what? Usually a limited amount of time for us to go have fun and play in the hay and have some fun and go check out some stuff and wonder at things that we don't normally get to do when we're like in a prison school environment. So it's like we get to go. And actually in German, the word for field trip, if I'm not mistaken, is Ausflug. It's like flying out. So yeah, we're flying the coop and we're getting out to be free, So let's just say the bus drops us off and they say, okay, you've got like a couple hours to roam around, go wherever you want, but be back here, at the meeting spot by whatever time. Well, you just imagine this is the time we're in now. Like, go explore. Like, this is our time. So say we're told, oh, we only have a little bit of time left here. And again, this is not a gloom and doom. This is just like saying, illustrating the point that if we know that we're on this beautiful earth, and like say, oh, we got to go back on the bus in like 2 hours, what would you go do? Would you worry if you went and splashed in a pond in your clothes, or, whatever? Just, go and experience everything, touch and feel and smell and look, and just take it all in without any inhibitions. And so that's also kind of, it just brings me back in the day, because when I was doing the core part of my sky watching back in 2020, 21, 22, I'd be out in the middle of the street, and I was happy actually there were shutdowns, not for anybody, for the negative reasons of it. But it's like, hey, I can be around, I don't have to worry about cars coming, as often as they used to. I can be out in my pajamas, nobody's around, nobody cares, just like regular pajama pants and like a t-shirt. But I could just be out there and just really take in the skies, like nobody was around, and it was a great time. And so it reminds me of that. So just drop any like preconceptions or worries or doubts or fears we might have of what we're doing, and just be our authentic selves. And yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, take a step away from the crowd. Be this one. Like, you want to be the duck in the row. I think in some kindergartens, they used to even teachers would give kids even a rope to hold on to, and everybody like you're moving around, or they would draw lines on the ground and you just have to follow the line. Yeah, I was always the kid that was outside of the line. Don't make me color within the lines, right? So again, it's that spirit, that free spirit of creativity. If you want to color within the lines, there's nothing wrong with that either. Some people thrive and do best when they do that. And it's this kind of kaleidoscope of all of us, and the collection of all of us that have our each individual authenticities that make this the most beautiful picture ever. So we don't all want to be the same. We don't all want to be the odd man out. It's that beautiful blend and just doing our own thing that makes it, absolutely. And I'm seeing the word perfect. Okay. Well, I think I've said enough for now. And I do really appreciate you all being here. And again, if for whatever reason comments aren't taking, that's YouTube, not me doing its stupid censoring stuff for no real sense, with no good sense. They're doing that, and I don't consent to it. So I'll just openly say, YouTube, just cut it out. And otherwise, yeah, if you have any comments that won't take, feel free to email, and then we'll just see what pops up more on this wonder signs. And actually, I think I will call the next show Wonder Signs 1550 to 1559, and let's see what happens. All right, everybody, big hugs and love all around. And till next time, it'll be here before you know it. I don't know if any of you are experiencing this, but boy, is time flying. I feel like it was just Tuesday. And again, hopefully everyone's having a beautiful right now. And oh, thank you. Sarah says, thank you. Thank you. Love you all so much. And till next time soon. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.